Welcome. In study section 1, we discuss introduction to developmental psychology. This section also serves to introduce you to another interesting section in this course, the study of development from conception through childhood. When you will have studied this section, you should be able to explain the development of child from conception. You should be able to discuss the development at early childhood. And lastly, you should be able to explain the development at middle childhood. Development of child from conception. Development occurs across a number of interconnected domains. Development in each domain is closely interwoven with development in the others, though it may not proceed evenly across domains in a parallel fashion. For example, language development may at times outstrip physical development or vice versa. There are three broad stages of development. One, we have early childhood, and two, we have a middle childhood, and three, we have adolescence. The definition of these stages are organized around the primary tasks of development in each stage. Meanwhile, there are some factors that may cause damages in the development of the ovum, embryo, and fetus. These factors will include poor diet, drugs, radiation, for example, exposure to radiation before the pregnancy is 8 months can be injurious to the fetus. Then we have an age of mothers, infectious diseases such as German measles or very high fever have been known to cause damage in the growing organisms, especially if the attack occurs during the first trimester of pregnancy. Another factor is rhesus blood factors incompatibility. Then we have emotional status. Lastly, birth complications. Now, let's take those stages of development one after the other. Early childhood. Early childhood is a time of tremendous growth across all ages of development. The dependent newborn grows into a young person who can take care of his or her own body and interact effectively with others. For these reasons, the primary developmental task of this stage is skill development. Physically, between birth and age 3, a child typically doubles in height and quadruples in weight. Bodily proportion also shifts so that the infant whose head accounts for almost 1/4 of total body length becomes a toddler with a more balanced adult-like appearance. Despite these rapid physical changes, the typical 3-year-old has mastered many skills, including sitting, walking, toilet training, using a spoon, scribbling, and sufficient hand-eye coordination to catch and throw a ball as they grow on a daily basis. Between 3 and 5 years of age, children continue to grow rapidly and begin to develop fine motor skills. By age 5, most children demonstrate fairly good control of pencils, crayons, scissors. Physical growth slows down between 5 and 8 years of age, while body proportions and motor skills become more refined. Changes in early childhood. Physical changes in early childhood are accompanied by rapid changes in the child's cognition and language development. From the moment they are born, children use all their senses to attend to their environment, and they begin to develop a sense of cause and effect from their actions and the responses of caregivers. Over the first 3 years of life, children develop a spoken vocabulary of between 300 and 1,000 words, and they are able to use language to learn about and describe the world around them. By age 5, a child's vocabulary increases and it grows to approximately 1,500 words. 5-year-olds are also able to produce 5 to 7 word sentences, learn to use the past tense, and tell familiar stories using pictures as cues. Language is a powerful tool to enhance cognition development at this stage. Using language allows the child to communicate with others and solve problems. By age 8, children are able to demonstrate some basic understanding of less concrete concepts, including time and money. However, the 8-year-old still reasons in concrete ways and have difficulty understanding abstract ideas. Socio-emotional development. A key moment in early childhood socio-emotional development occurs around 1 year of age. This is the time when attachment formation becomes critical. The quality of emotional attachment or lack of attachment formed early in life may serve as a model for later relationship. From age 3 to 5, growth in social emotional skills includes the formation of peer relationship, gender identification, and the development of a sense of right and wrong. Taking perspective of another individual is difficult at this stage for young children, and events are even interpreted in all or nothing terms, with the impact on the child being the foremost concern. For example, at age 5, a child may expect others to share their possessions freely but still be extremely possessive of a favorite toy. Between age 5 and 8, children enter into a broader peer context and develop enduring friendship. Social comparison is heightened at this time, and taking other people's perspective begins to play a role in how children relate to people, including peers. Implication of developmental phase in early childhood for nursing practice. The time from birth to 8 years is a critical period in the development of many fundamental skills in all areas of development. Increased awareness of and ability to detect developmental delays in very young children has led to the creation of early intervention services that can reduce the need for special education placement when children reach school. For example, earlier detection of hearing deficits sometimes leads to correction of problems before serious language impairments occur. Also, developmental delay caused by premature birth can be addressed through appropriate therapies to help children function at the level of their typical developing peers before they begin school. Finally, the increased attention on early childhood has led to renewed interest in preschool programs as a means to narrow the readiness gap between children whose families can afford early quality health care for them and those whose families cannot. Middle childhood. This is another stage. Historically, middle childhood has not been considered an important stage in human development. Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory labeled this period of life the latency stage, a time when sexual and aggressive urges are repressed. Freud suggested that no significant contributions to personality development were made during this period. However, more recent theories have recognized the importance of middle childhood for the development of cognitive skills, personality, motivation, and interpersonal relationship are considered important at this stage of life. Physical development that occur in middle childhood. During middle childhood, children learn the values of their society. Thus, the primary developmental task of middle childhood could be called integration, both in terms of development within the individual and of the individual within the social context. Physical development during middle childhood is less dramatic than in early childhood or adolescence. Growth is slow and steady until the onset of puberty. When individual begins to develop at a much quicker pace, puberty may start as early as age 8 or 9. Onset of puberty differs across gender and begins early in female. Cognitive development that occur in middle childhood include physical development. The cognition developed of middle childhood is slow and steady at this stage. Children in this stage are building upon skills gained in early childhood and preparing for the next phase of their cognitive development. Children reasoning is very rule-based. Children are learning skills such as classification and forming hypotheses when they are cognitively more mature now than a few years ago. Children in this stage still require concrete hands-on learning activities. Middle childhood is a time when children can gain enthusiasm for learning and work. Achievement can become a motivating factor as children work towards building competence and self-esteem. Implication of developmental phase in middle childhood for nursing practice. For many children, middle childhood is joyful time of increased independence, broader friendship, and developing interests such as sport, art, or music. However, a widely recognized shift in school performance begins for many children in third or fourth grade. The skills required for academic success become more complex. Those students who successfully meet the academic challenges during this period go on to do well, while those who fail to build the necessary skill may fall further behind in later grades. Recent social trends, including the increased prevalence of school violence, eating disorders, drug use, and depression, affect many children at this stage. Thus, there is more pressure on nurses to recognize problem in 8 to 11 years old and to teach children the social and life skill that they need to know at this stage. Thanks for listening. See you in the next class.